You didn't watch Vinland Saga for therapy. You came for swords, the war, the revenge. But somewhere between the blood and the silence, you realize this story isn't about Vikings. It's about you. Because every man in this saga broke, and every one of them broke in the places you're still trying to hold together. This isn't inspiration, it's a reality check. You think strength is noise, volume, swinging first and asking questions never? Let's talk about Thorfinn, biggest man on the battlefield, fastest axe, loudest laugh. You'd think he was invincible, but the truth? He's a child, a man chasing war because he doesn't know what peace feels like. Watch his eyes when he talks about Thors. That's not respect, that's regret. He knows Thors had something he never earned. Peace through power, not over it. Now, let's go even deeper. Kettle, the Iron Fist, feared, revered, until it all falls apart and you realize his strength, a story he told himself so he wouldn't have to look in the mirror. When things crumble, Kettle doesn't stand. He weeps, he begs, he breaks, because his entire identity was built on fear. And fear, dressed up like masculinity, is still weakness. Here's the reality check. Most people who bark the loudest cry the hardest when no one's watching. You can fake confidence, you can cosplay toughness, but when life actually punches you in the mouth, that's when the truth shows up. The loud break, the calm bend. Thors, he bent. He walked away from war. He carried peace like a weapon no one else could lift. A true warrior doesn't need a sword. You don't prove your strength by dominating others. You prove it by not needing to. Take 5 minutes. Write down every place in your life where you've been performing strength instead of being strong. Ego, avoidance, false bravado. Now ask yourself, what would Thors do? Because maybe the strongest thing you can do today is not fight, but stand still. People love to say that pain makes you stronger, that heartbreak builds character, that grief leads to growth, that one day you'll look back and be grateful for the struggle. But what they don't tell you is that pain doesn't make you anything. It reveals what you already are, or worse, what you're pretending to be. Watch Thorfinn in his nightmares. He's not wielding a blade. He's drowning in the faces of the people he's killed. That's not a warrior. That's a broken boy finally waking up. He spent years thinking revenge would give him peace, that if he just killed Askeladd, the pain would stop. But when it finally ends, there's no glory, no peace, just an empty stare, a sword with no purpose. Because Thorfinn wasn't chasing justice, he was running from himself. Then there's Canute, sweet, quiet, sheltered, until Ragnar dies. This is the part where the prince becomes a king. But not because he's ready, because life didn't care if he was. Here's the truth. You don't become a leader because you want to. You become one because everything you loved got ripped away, and you had no one left to follow but yourself. Canute didn't grow into his crown. He buried his heart to wear it. And Thorfinn, he didn't evolve through pain. He got exposed by it. What about you? You keep saying your breakup made you stronger, but are you actually stronger or just colder? You say losing that job was a blessing, but are you chasing purpose now or just hiding behind busy work? Pain doesn't make you brave. It makes you choose. Bury it or face it. And most people, they bury it so deep, they forget it's even there. If you're in pain, don't rush to grow. Stop. Look, feel what's under the rubble, because maybe it's not strength you need, it's honesty. Take a blank page, title it, What Pain Is Still Talking. Write down every moment you pretend doesn't affect you anymore. Then next to each one, write what you became because of it. Not what you told your friends, what you actually became. Because pain doesn't change you, it shows you who you were all along. And once that mask shatters, you start to realize something even worse. You were never trapped. You just got good at surviving inside a cage. You ever feel like you're stuck? Like life has you in a chokehold, and no matter how hard you push, you can't just break free? That's the lie. Einar and Thorfinn were literal slaves. Chains, collars, no freedom. But look closely. They still laughed. They dreamed. They built something. They had less than you, and somehow lived more. That line hit different, didn't it? Because most of us aren't chained to the earth. We're chained to our habits, our comfort zones, our fear of starting over. Even Snake, the cold mercenary, tells him, a man with no enemies still has himself. Translation, the real enemy isn't out there. It's in here. You're not as trapped as you think. You're just used to the bars. You know the job's killing your soul, but you stay. You know the scrolling isn't helping, but you keep swiping. You know the anger doesn't serve you, but you feed it like it's fuel. You're not a prisoner. You're a regular. Welcome to the comfort cage. If the cage is familiar enough, you'll start mistaking it for home. But the truth? You can walk out. You just haven't paid attention to the door. Write down one thing in your life that makes you say, I can't leave because I have to. Now replace have to with choose to. I can't leave this job. I choose to stay in this job. I can't fix this relationship. I choose not to change it. Uncomfortable, right? Good. The moment you admit the cage is self-made, you get to design the key. And when you finally walk out of that cage, don't expect trumpets, because real freedom, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like sweat, silence, and dirt under your nails. You keep waiting for that moment, that lightning strike realization, that movie scene transformation, that feeling of, I'm free. But what if freedom doesn't look like a victory? What if it looks like a shovel? Einar and Thorfinn planting wheat. No music swelling, no audience clapping, just two men, broken in different ways, choosing to build something instead of burn. That's it. That's the revolution. Because real freedom, it's not dramatic, it's repetitive, it's quiet. It's doing the hard thing again and again, even when no one's watching. He's not smiling, he's not celebrating, he's just working peacefully, intentionally, free. See, we confuse relief with freedom. You quit the job. You feel relief. You block the ex. You feel relief. You start that new thing, and you expect a movie soundtrack to kick in. But when it doesn't, you wonder if something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. You just started actually living. Even Gardar, the man who tried to escape with blood, finds peace only when he's still, when he's held, when he stops running. That's not freedom bought by violence. That's freedom paid for in pain and released with forgiveness. So no, freedom won't feel like fireworks. It feels like repetition, like healing you have to choose every single morning. It's not sexy, it's not cinematic, but it's yours. Real freedom isn't an escape, it's a discipline. And peace is a practice. What is one boring thing you could do today that your future self will thank you for? Plant the seed, literally, metaphorically, emotionally. It's not glamorous, but it's how you take your life back, one quiet act at a time. Vinland Saga didn't try to make you feel better. It tried to wake you up, because you're not losing, you're not broken, you're not weak for being tired, but you are at war. In the battlefield, it's your own mind. They weren't just characters, they were mirrors. They didn't come to inspire you, they came to confront you. So now what? Do you pick up the sword, keep running the loop, or do you finally stop and start becoming someone new?